Tonight on CTV News, tax freeze.
And I want to be very clear. Zero means zero.
There won't be a property tax increase in Vancouver next year, so why isn't everyone applauding the move? Also, a former lawyer on trial for killing his client, but wasn't murder. We'll have the latest from court. And what BC billionaire Chip Wilson's being fined over election signs he put up outside his mansion.
This is CTV News with Michelle Brunoro.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Mijang is off tonight. Homeowners living in Vancouver will be off the hook when it comes to paying more in property taxes this year. Today, City Council approved a 0% tax increase, but critics question what services will be on the chopping block. And as CTV's Isabella Zavarisi explains, some believe this is a Hail Mary move by the mayor with an election 1 year away.
After 3 years of hikes, Vancouver property taxpayers won't be facing another one come the new year.
Predictability and stability are super important to residents and business owners across the city. And I want to be very clear. Zero means zero.
Mayor Ken Sim says he'll maintain core services, including libraries, community centers, and policing. But it's what isn't being preserved that's worrying his opponents.
What we have before us is an 11th hour move by the mayor introducing a last-minute motion that lacks substance. There's no detail. There's no facts.
In June, Sim tabled a similar motion with property tax hikes ranging from 0 to 2.5%. At the time, staff told him an increase in the range of 5 to 7% was ideal. Sim's new motion directs staff to find savings of about $120 million.
That's putting a lot of anxiety on folks who rely on city services and on our staff who rely on their employment with the city.
I'm really concerned about the services that my members provide to the citizens of Vancouver.
A number of groups spoke in support of the freeze.
Business needs some semblance of predictability moving forward and reasonable increases that are more or less in line with inflation.
Some councillors tried to table amendments asking to identify what will be cut, but they failed.
I don't see how we can vote on something where we don't know what exactly we're voting on with detail. That was very concerning.
We asked the city manager, would this hinder the process? And he said, yes. And it would be incredibly reckless if we did not follow the recommendations of the city manager.
With a municipal election set for next October, some see this as a last-ditch effort by Sim to make good with voters.
It's what I think we call a Hail Mary pass.
The city manager says it will take time to work through this, but it's possible the budget won't be voted on until early in the new year. Isabella Zavarisi, CTV News, Vancouver.
And then there were none. As of this morning, all government-run BC liquor and cannabis stores are now closed and behind picket lines. It's the latest move in a long, drawn-out strike between the BC GEU and the province. CTV's St. John Alexander now on the wide-reaching implications.
The union kept this move up its sleeve, a job action trump card played strategically for significant impact. After closing specific locations at first, now every single store is locked up.
Oh, sorry. They're on strike, that's right.
In a typical strike, all of our members would have been all out right from the beginning, and you would have seen all these services, including liquor and cannabis distribution, shut down right from the beginning. We didn't do that.
The BCGEU says it had no choice. After 6 weeks of job action, they still haven't received what they believe is an acceptable offer. And so bright yellow picket lines will be up at government-run liquor and cannabis stores throughout the province.
Next time, don't drive in. It's disrespectful.
Of course, customers can still go to private stores while their stock lasts, but restaurants can't and are running out of stock.
It's getting critical, where we're getting members saying, look, we're literally days away from not being able to sell any liquor, and without liquor on our menu, we're not a viable operation.
Some that tucked away their U.S. booze in solidarity with the war on tariffs have admittedly been pulling that back out.
But even that product is now selling out, and there's just no ability for them to access liquor products.
The problem is not with the union. We're willing to get back to the table when government's willing to come with a real offer.
Also shut down, Service BC locations, where you go for things like marriage licenses.
Government has an offer on the table that keeps workers whole with inflation and helps the workers that are making the lowest wage, and we're looking forward to getting back to the table.
In other words, this is a typical labor dispute war of words, and the union is upping its game. And the public, customers, are hoping they make peace, and soon. St. John Alexander, CTV News, Vancouver.
Closing arguments are underway in the murder trial of a former BC lawyer who admitted to killing a client at his office. As CTV's Penny Daflos explains, the unusual case hinges on whether or not the accused prepared for the killing.
Rogelio Begabayo was known to his clients as Butch when the lawyer practiced in Kamloops. This week, he's been in court as the defendant charged with first-degree murder of a client. Crown alleges Begabayo killed Maud Abdullah after they'd worked together to hide hundreds of thousands of dollars during his divorce. The defense portrayed Abdullah as a frugal man who was frantic about his financial situation since Begabayo had spent the money himself. The defense also acknowledged Begabayo killed his client in his office during an unexpected scuffle when they met up in 2022. Abdullah was declared missing by staff at Thompson Rivers University, where he was a professor, prompting an RCMP search.
Even if people don't think it's relevant, you never know what's going to be the clue to help proceed with an investigation like this, so we always encourage people to make that call.
They found his body several days later in a rental van parked in the driveway of Begabayo's neighbor. Crown says the lawyer had a planning note and stored the body in a plastic tote he'd bought for that purpose, alleging he'd planned the murder for a week. The defense provided alternative explanations for several items, describing Begabayo as a procrastinator and planting the seeds of reasonable doubt about their purpose.
The defense is arguing that Begabayo should not be convicted of first-degree murder and that a manslaughter conviction would be appropriate. Of course, that would likely carry a much shorter sentence. Penny Daflos, CTV News, Vancouver.
2 men from the Lower Mainland have been added to the list of Canada's top 25 most wanted fugitives. Police forces from around the country gathered in Vancouver today to unveil the updated list. And as CTV's Martin McMahon reports, police are pointing to high-profile arrests as evidence the program is working.
2 local cases are now profiled as part of the BOLO Top 25 Most Wanted program. It stands for Be on the Lookout and pays big money for information leading to convictions. 43-year-old Omed Mashinshi is number 13 on the list. He's wanted in connection with a large drug operation in Vancouver.
Currently, he's wanted for conspiracy to commit an indictable offense, as well as numerous firearm and drug trafficking charges. We suspect him of drug trafficking at a large-scale level, kilogram level.
Number 16 on the list is Gurkarat Singh. The 26-year-old is wanted by Delta Police in connection with the sexual assault of a child last year.
Well, this significantly impacted the life of a young person on an incident that happened that night, and the predatory nature of it. We felt it was an important case to solve, and it's important that he's held accountable.
The recent arrest of Rabi Al-Khalil was touted as a success for Bolo. He's a former member of the most wanted list who escaped the North Fraser pretrial center in 2022 while being held on murder charges before he was arrested in Qatar last month.
My message to all of the 25 fugitives on this list today is simple. The odds are not in your favor. Call a lawyer, come up with a plan to surrender, and just like Rabi Al-Khalil, your time on the run is over.
The recent apprehension of Cody Casey, who is 3rd on Canada's most wanted list, is a prime example of the success of the BOLO program. The major financial rewards provided by the BOLO program heighten the public's interest and keep these most wanted offenders in the public eye.
At the news conference in Vancouver, police officers wore hyper-realistic masks depicting the suspects on the wanted list. More than half of the fugitives featured on the BOLO Top 25 since 2018 have been arrested. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
We are following breaking news on the war in Gaza. U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel and Hamas have reached an agreement on the first phase of his 20-point peace plan, ending the 2-year-old conflict. Craig Krause is following this in the Breaking News Center. And Craig, what are we learning?
Well, Michelle, according to the president, this means all of the hostages will soon be released and Israel will withdraw its troops to an agreed-upon line. Now, this is all happening in the past couple of hours, and it was pretty dramatic. So here's a bit of video we're going to show you here. Trump, during during a news conference was handed a note from Secretary of State Marco Rubio announcing a peace deal was close and that he needed to approve a Truth Social post so they could announce the deal first. Hurrying out of the meeting, Trump then posted that Israel and Hamas have both signed off. He went on to thank mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu posting on X shortly after about the hostages, saying, "With God's help, we will bring them all home." It was not immediately clear whether the parties had made any progress on the future of the conflict, including whether Hamas will demilitarize, as Trump has demanded, and eventual governance over the war-torn territory. And according to an Israeli government spokesperson, he expects the hostages to start being released on Saturday. Michelle?
All right, thanks for that, Craig. A court appearance was held in Surrey today for 3 men charged in a major extortion and firearms investigation that's left many South Asian businesses on edge. Arndeep Singh, Nirmandeep Chima, and Mandeep Gide each face a charge of reckless discharge of a firearm. It's part of a months-long RCMP-led probe into threats and violence targeting restaurants and shops across Metro Vancouver. Police allege victims were ordered to pay money or risk their businesses being shot at or set on fire. The case comes amid a spike in violence, including 4 shootings in Surrey this week, 2 at the same restaurant, which had also been targeted in Maple Ridge. A court-ordered publication ban is in place restricting what can be reported from the hearing, but all 3 men are scheduled to return to court in the coming weeks. Question period at the BC Legislature this afternoon was dominated by questions about First Nations rights and their impact on private property rights. CTV's Rob Buffin joins us live with more from Victoria. Rob?
Michelle, 2 recent court cases, the Cowichan tribes as well as the Haida Gwaii, setting out Aboriginal title over private property, have sparked controversy and concern amongst some private property owners. Controversy that spilled over into the legislature today with a bunch of questions during question period, including from Conservative leader John Rustad, accusing the government of hypocrisy for calling his party members fearmongers.
Perhaps the Premier could clear, by calling us fearmongering for raising this issue, is he also calling the Attorney General fearmongering for raising the same issue?
The opposition leader was proposing in that letter that he sent to me to go to the Supreme Court of Canada is legally, in effect, nonsensical and would actually do harm to the case.
Question period today also featured questions from the new 1BC party about transgender rights and a push from a private member's bill to address related issues like hormone therapy, allegations of transgender surgery on minors, and the use of pronouns in schools.
Doctors are causing irreversible harm to children with puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, and surgeries. These interventions rob children of the human right to grow up with their bodies intact.
This is another sad day in the BC legislature when Conservative politicians are trying to dictate what parents should be doing and decisions they should be making with love and support for their children.
All those opposed, please rise.
That private member's bill brought by Tara Armstrong with 1BC failed to pass first reading, with the NDP, Greens, and Independent Eleanor Sturco voting against it. We're told 2 Conservatives were not there to vote on it. The rest of the Conservatives did vote in support. It is unusual for a bill, even a private member's bill, not to pass first reading. It's a convention that it would get support so everyone can see what's in that bill. But obviously this was very contentious. I would say we can expect more of these sort of culture war issues to come up this session, with 1BC having 2 members and 2 questions in every question period. Michelle.
Thanks for that, Rob. Well, the province says it's now going after vape manufacturers in an effort to make them accountable for public health costs.
Vaping is gaining traction in Canada, especially among youth who are being targeted with flashy packaging, flavors that appeal to them, and influencer marketing. We have seen companies misrepresent their products as a smoking cessation tool that was safe, rather than disclosing the truth that they're highly addictive, dangerous products designed to addict a new generation to nicotine.
Today, the province introduced the Vaping Product Damages and Healthcare Costs Recovery Act. If passed, the province will be able to take legal action against companies that cause public harm through misleading promotion of vaping products. The province says the new law will build on the province's success holding tobacco and opioid manufacturers accountable. And you're looking at a live shot from English Bay at sunset. Looks beautiful out there tonight. Some clouds in the air there, though.
Yeah, not too bad. And as you saw, some breaks in the clouds as well. So not a bad day today. We had some sprinkles, but for the most part, it was dry with a few sunny breaks in there. Here's a look at temperatures across the Lower Mainland. Low to mid-teens, 14 in Vancouver, 13 in Burnaby and North Vancouver. You're looking at 15 degrees right now in Surrey, Abbotsford, and Chilliwack. So as we head through the overnight, we'll continue to see overcast skies with a high of 11 degrees, and tomorrow will be a cool one. We'll start off with some showers for your early morning commute. It slowly does dry up. Afternoon clouds with a high of 14.
CTV Weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises. Plan, book, and safeguard your journeys. Explore the possibilities at expediacruises.ca.
And heading into the Thanksgiving long weekend, it doesn't look like it's going to be a complete washout. I've got those details coming up.
All right, thanks for that, Ann. Well, development company is pushing back after the city of Delta rejected a plan to build towers in Sawatsky. Century Group says it sets a terrible precedent for cities trying to increase their housing supply as the plan followed legislation. CTV's Yasmin Gandam has the story.
The plan for Century Group to build towers in Tawason's town centre squashed by City Council on Monday, despite the developer revising it and stressing it aligned with Delta's official community plan.
The goalposts constantly change in terms of what I'm being asked to do or what the criticism is.
The mayor says otherwise, which is why the plan was rejected.
Our community had a very strong feeling that they did not want to accept any forms of high-rises, but most importantly, the official community plan for the town centre development site is 6 stories.
Hodgins says the decision creates uncertainty around how to achieve density when the company followed provincial housing legislation.
Rather than, ask for more questions or more details about it, as council could have done, they just simply dismissed it and moved on.
He adds, despite reducing the heights by 25% and cutting the number of homes, it was still not enough. In 2024, Delta Council approved a new OCP. The guidelines state the height for urban center designations is up to 6 stories, with limited opportunities for up to 24 stories, where a significant community contribution is provided.
We redesigned the project over the last 6 months to carve out space, a very prominent space of 6,500 square foot to create a community clinic space. The earliest, if the project was approved, the earliest we could see an urgent and primary care center there or some form of clinic would be at least 5 to 7 years, and that's not acceptable to us.
Hodgins says the rejection denies residents access to housing solutions and health care, but the city says it is open to future proposals from Century Group that align with their OCP. Yasmin Gandam, CTV News, Delta.
BC billionaire Chip Wilson has been fined over unauthorized election signs outside his Point Grey mansion. Elections BC fined the Lululemon founder $600 for failing to register before sponsoring election advertising. Wilson put up 3 signs outside his $82 million property during the provincial election last October, including one where he called Premier David Eby and the NDP communist. An historic heart transplant is performed in Canada using a heart that had stopped beating. What it could mean for organ donation, that's coming up. Plus,
I don't think there's one part of the city that isn't expected to change.
What will Vancouver look like decades from now? The plan that will shape the city's future, and how to have your say. When CTV News continues, stay with us. The City of Vancouver is looking for feedback on the draft Vancouver official development plan. It's a plan that has the ability to impact the shape of the city for decades to come. CTV's Dimitra Maragos has that story.
The landscape of Vancouver is changing, and more changes are on the horizon, all outlined in Vancouver's official development plan, or ODP. It's a high-level plan that outlines changes to the city to 2050 and beyond. The ODP is in response to a new provincial requirement to have a citywide plan in place by June of next year. Retired architect and real estate planning consultant Michael Geller says it's about time.
Well, virtually every other municipality has an overall development plan. Until now, Vancouver's never really ever had one.
A large portion of the report focuses on the city's generalized land use designations, or GLUs. In an outline of the report, it says this strategy aims for a balance of housing, employment, and public amenities. GLU designations range from parks and open spaces, highlighted in green, to mixed-use high-rise buildings outlined in red. While the ODP is not a rezoning policy and does not guarantee specific developments, it will be implemented over time.
The irony is, I don't think there's one part of the city that isn't expected to change.
The ODP will be reviewed every 5 years. The city is looking for public feedback until the end of the month. Geller hopes voices are weighed equally.
The city is trying to be responsive to the concerns, certainly of the development community, if anything, perhaps not as responsive to the concerns of neighborhood residents.
Tom Davidoff is an associate professor at the Sauder School of Business. We asked for his thoughts on the rollout of land use designations.
There are a lot of expensive infrastructure needs in the city and the region, and so it certainly does make sense to unroll major upzonings neighborhood by neighborhood for that reason.
And he says the approval of the right projects could help the city's bottom line.
I think if the city plans infrastructure improvements, that's going to make land in certain areas inevitably more valuable as it's better served land. There'll be more demand to build towers.
Demetra Marigo, CTV News, Vancouver.
98% of all vehicles that come to Canada from Asia first arrive at a terminal in Delta. Today, they celebrated some major upgrades that significantly increased their capacity.
We've seen significant increases in our volumes and our operating capacity here just with the increased rail and then the additional footprint here. We're seeing about 30% more coming through our facility here than we did before we consolidated our Richmond facility into it.
The project involved consolidating Annacis and Richmond auto terminals into a single facility, along with the expansion of 2 rail yards and a new vehicle processing building. The improvements will allow the terminal to handle up to 480,000 vehicles a year, which is an increase of 36%. Vehicles are processed at the terminal before they are sent to dealers across the country for sales. A new exhibit at Science World is showcasing the story of a young Indigenous girl through the magical world of animation.
Molly is here to teach the community, not just Indigenous people, but everybody surrounding that's going to come into Science World about the Alaskan 7 sacred teachings.
Inspired by an acclaimed kids program, Animation Adventure with Molly of Denali brings the world of Alaska native Molly to life. The hands-on exhibit lets guests become animators, storyboard their own scenes, and step inside a 360-degree projection of the Northern Lights. It aims to inspire the next generation of creative technologists while celebrating Alaska's Indigenous culture. Why scientists from a Canadian university are looking for 10,000 toenail clippings. That story's coming up, but first.
This will provide hope for them that there will be a heart.
The cutting-edge procedure that's giving new hope to transplant patients waiting for a heart. We'll explain as CTV News continues. In a Canadian first, a Toronto hospital has performed a transplant using a heart that was revived after the donor died and the heart stopped beating. It's something that could save more lives and certainly gives hope to those on an organ wait list. CTV's Heather Wright reports.
Nearly 1 million Canadians are living with heart failure, many waiting for a transplant that may never come.
Many of them never make it to actually get that good news, that phone call that we found a heart for you. So this will provide hope for them that there will be a heart.
That hope is care of a new procedure Dr. Syed Ali Reza Rabi performed in early September at Toronto General Hospital. A heart transplant from a donor whose heart had stopped beating. The first time this cutting-edge procedure has been performed in Canada.
The heart is warm, meaning that it's not cooled to protect it, and it is not getting oxygen or nutrients. So this is a vulnerable time for heart. So we have to take that heart out and through special techniques preserve it, bring it back, and put it in the person and hope that the heart starts beating.
Typically, heart donations come from people who are brain dead, but oxygen is still circulating in the body and their organs are still functioning. This procedure, first pioneered in Australia a decade ago, will open the pool of possible donors, and early data suggests the outcomes are similar.
And it looks like there is no difference between the outcome of the hearts of people who've received hearts from a traditional brain dead donor versus circulatory dead donor.
Right now, who is eligible for this procedure depends on where they live, as doctors don't want the donated heart to be outside of the body for more than an hour. But there is hope as new technology becomes available. Hearts will be able to travel anywhere in Canada, saving many more lives. Heather Wright, CTV News, Toronto.
The union representing striking Canada Post employees says it will meet with the federal minister in charge of the Crown Corporation tonight. Postal workers walked off the job nearly 2 weeks ago in the wake of Ottawa announcing sweeping changes to services, including the end of door-to-door delivery. Canada Post tabled a new proposal last week, which introduced provisions related to expected job cuts. The union has been taking aim at Purolator, which is 91% owned by Canada Post, picketing outside Purolator locations to draw attention to the issue. Following a friendly meeting with the U.S. president in Washington, critics say Prime Minister Mark Carney came back empty-handed. Carney returned to Ottawa without a deal on tariffs, but CTV News can confirm the Keystone XL pipeline was part of Tuesday's talks at the White House. A government source with knowledge of the discussions in the Oval Office says Trump was very receptive to the idea. But on Parliament Hill, opposition leader Pierre Poilievre called out the Prime Minister for not getting a deal done while promising more investment down south.
The Prime Minister went pathetically to the White House to offer a $1 trillion gift, bowing before the President in weakness.
We have the best deal with the Americans, and the third thing that's true is we will get an even better deal.
While a pipeline may be possible, Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick is dismissing the prospect of an auto deal with Canada. He says the U.S. could continue buying auto parts from Canada, but that's about it. Music legend Dolly Parton breaks her silence after rumors circulate about her health. That's coming up, but first.
Toenails are a very good long-term, what we call biological archive.
Scientists in Calgary want your toenail clippings, why they're critical in a new study about a potential cancer risk.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Vancouver, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Scientists at the University of Calgary are launching a groundbreaking study with an unusual request from participants. They're asking for your toenails to learn more about why even those who seem perfectly healthy are diagnosed with lung cancer. CTV's Mark Villani has the story on how this research could lead to earlier screening and potentially life-saving treatments.
Emmy Bossio loves the outdoors, so whether hiking in the mountains or relaxing at the beach, the Calgary woman was always active and healthy.
I ate well, I checked all the chemicals in my cosmetics, I was very conscious about my health.
But a nagging cough wouldn't go away, and doctors noticed something wrong.
I was diagnosed at 47 with lung cancer, having never smoked.
Smoking is the leading cause of lung cancer, but number 2 is radon, an odorless radioactive gas linked to Canada's high uranium levels in soil.
The world's most radon-exposed people on this planet.
So to investigate, scientists at the University of Calgary are analyzing something unusual, toenail clippings. They say when radon is inhaled, it precipitates into solid lead, and toenails are a main place to find it.
Toenails are a very good long-term, what we call biological archive of long-term exposure.
The samples are collected and melted down to measure tiny traces of lead-210, the radioactive byproduct left behind when radon decays in the body.
And that's our clue.
Researchers also tested radon levels in participants' homes and found that higher levels of radioactive lead in toenails matched homes with elevated radon readings.
To use that information to say something about disease or exposure to toxic elements in the environment,
that's where I think there's a lot of opportunity.
40 people have had their toenails analyzed so far, but new funding from the Canadian Cancer Society aims to expand the study to 10,000 participants nationwide. Promising news for some lung cancer patients who say this could lead to earlier treatments and screening.
So I think for lung cancer patients being diagnosed, there's hope. And this is one of those things that will help with hope.
And if all goes well, the hope is that a simple toenail test will ultimately save lives.
That's why these studies are so critical.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Original artwork by late TV host and painter Bob Ross is set to be auctioned off. Auction house Bonham says 30 of Ross's paintings will be sold at various auctions. The first, set for November 11th, will feature these two pieces, Home in the Valley and Winter's Peace. Funds raised will support public television in the U.S. Ross's show, The Joy of Painting, aired for more than a decade on PBS in the 1980s and 90s.
Aw, look at those happy little trees.
Yes, beautiful photos, and I can't even imagine what those might be worth. The previous ones have sold for a lot, let me tell you.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how much they go for. All right, let's take a look at our forecast now. We are seeing mostly cloudy conditions out there for the south coast. Ridge of high pressure for the northern half of the province, stretching all the way to the central coast and southern interior. But for us, we're going to stay cloudy and pretty unsettled as we head into the next few days. So here's a look at our weather tracker. Widespread cloud across the lower mainland into tomorrow morning. For your early morning commute, we will see a line of showers pretty much across the board, with the exception of the Fraser Valley. Into tomorrow afternoon, things do clear up quite nicely for the Fraser Valley, the northeast corner of Metro Vancouver. It does stay cloudy for the central Vancouver as well as the southwest corner. So here's a look at our rain tracker and what we can expect as we head into tomorrow. Not a lot of rain for the Fraser Valley. You were looking at minimal accumulations, upwards of 5 millimeters expected for Metro Vancouver. Lots of sunshine for the southern interior. Your provincial forecast at the bottom of your screen. Mostly sunny skies report Hardy, 13 degrees. You'll see cloudy skies, showers for Campbell River and Comox with a high of 14 degrees. Unsettled for Tofino, a few scattered showers and a few sunny breaks, 14. Cloudy with showers from Port Alberni right down to Victoria. You're looking at temperatures between 14 and 15 degrees. Unsettled for the Sunshine Coast, 14 degrees with some scattered showers. Same story up the Sea to Sky Highway, though a touch warmer. You're looking at 15 degrees for Squamish and Whistler with a few afternoon sunny breaks. And for us across the lower mainland, cloudy with showers in the morning. Clears up nicely for the Fraser Valley and parts of Coquitlam. You'll get some sunny breaks in there. Temperatures between 14 degrees near the water, 17 degrees further inland. And you'll definitely need your umbrellas on Friday. That's when the rain returns, cooling down to 13 degrees, continuing into Saturday morning before it dries up with a few breaks in there. Light rain on Sunday. We'll be thankful for the clearing trend on Monday. For Thanksgiving, 14 degrees under a mix of sun and cloud. Mostly sunny skies on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we're looking at a mix of sun and cloud with a high of 15. CTV weather brought to you by Expedia Cruises for air, land, and sea vacations. So it's looking a lot more like fall out there as we head into the next few days.
Definitely, but sounds like I might be able to sneak in a hike on Monday before I have a whole bunch of food.
I say just cancel the food and
no, I'm not going to cancel the food. All right, thanks for that, Ann. Well, the Vancouver Canucks season opener is just a day away, and for the first time in decades, a newcomer is about to become the first 18-year-old to start the season with the team. That story's coming up. Plus,
there's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay.
Country superstar Dolly Parton puts the rumors to rest amid concerns about her health. Taking a look at today's markets, the Canadian dollar traded for 71 cents to the American dollar. Oil was up 82 cents, closing the day at $62.55 U.S. a barrel. Gold gained more than $66 on the day. The TSX ended the day higher, up 150 points. The Dow Jones also made a slight gain on the day, up 1 point. Soccer superstar Cristiano Ronaldo has become the sport's first billionaire player. Yeah, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, the world-famous footballer's bank account received a boost earlier this year after re-signing with the Saudi Arabian club Al Nassr for an estimated $400 million U.S. Ronaldo also has lucrative endorsement deals with multiple companies, including Nike and Armani.
I have a lot of respect for people's subjective opinions on art. I'm not the art police. It's like everybody is allowed to feel exactly how they want, and what our goal is as entertainers is to be a mirror.
Taylor Swift says she's taking mixed reviews of her new album in stride while speaking with Apple Music's Zane Lowe. There's certainly been a lot of positive reaction from fans to The Life of a Showgirl. Swift's 12th album has smashed a number of streaming records, and its cinematic release party was #1 at the weekend box office. Country legend Dolly Parton is breaking her silence amid recent health concerns spurned by the singer's sister on social media.
There's just a lot of rumors flying around, but I figured if you heard it from me, you'd know that I was okay. And I'm not ready to die yet. Hey,
Parton issued this video assuring fans she's fine and on a set working on commercials. She stated some of her problems were linked to her husband's death in March when she neglected her own health, but is now in the process of getting treatment. This comes as her sister, Frida Parton, apologized today for sparking concern with a recent Facebook post asking for prayers for Dolly's health. Weston, Tobacco, and Apple highlighted in Homeward Bound, our weekly look at rescues ready for adoption in the Lower Mainland, plus cats in costumes. Adam finds out the connection between quirky collages and a meaningful connection coming up on the Sawatsky sign-off. And right now, here's a preview of Your Morning Vancouver.
Well, it's only October, but has your wallet started preparing for the holidays? Thursday on Your Morning Vancouver, a deep dive into the shopping bag, who's expected to cut back, and what many of us plan to spend more on. Also, this is your brain on menopause, the changes you can expect, and how to deal with that brain fog. Plus, what to watch for as the puck drops on the Canucks regular season. We'll see you in the morning.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by
CapitalDirect.ca. Let's make your vision a reality with Capital Direct. Call and talk to our team today.
The puck drops on another campaign of Vancouver Canucks hockey tomorrow night at Rogers Arena. After a strong training camp, the team's first-round pick from last June's draft made the roster. As CTV's Ben Milder reports, Braden Coots is set to become the first 18-year-old to start the season with the Canucks in 35 years.
Good spot, tipped in.
Braden Coots' mantra at Canucks training camp has been to just earn another day. With 2 goals and 2 assists in preseason action, he's done more than that and is expected to be in the lineup on opening night.
Obviously, you don't take it for granted at all, but, I knew I could, possibly do it just by playing hockey. So just being myself, focusing on what I do best, and just keep trying to earn another day.
Coots is the first 18-year-old to start the season with the Canucks since Peter Nedved did it back in 1990. He's likely to get at least 9 games with the big club, and then the team has to make a decision. If he plays in a 10th game, the Canucks can't send him back to junior. Despite his youth, Coots has shown a willingness to play a physical style. Coach Adam Foote expects to utilize him in a variety of situations.
We're always going to look at matchups when we can, but we're not going to get stuck on matchups either when we don't have control of it. But he's proven that he can defend with his mind and his body, and he's not afraid to get physical either.
It's no secret the Canucks are thin down the middle, and that has helped Coots make his way onto the team.
He came in and he's done everything to earn this opportunity, but I do think we have to take a broader picture and look at the depth down the middle, and it was an issue in the summertime. If they were a stronger team at center ice, it would have been more difficult for an 19-year-old to break into the National Hockey League.
Management continues to work the phones, looking to bolster the team through a trade. If that happens, Coots could be sent back to his junior team in Seattle. But Thursday, he'll play in his first NHL game.
Take it all in. You only get to do it once. So first game, you know, it's pretty special.
For Coots, Thursday promises to be a night to remember. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
The Ringside Report, brought to you by Capital Direct.
CapitalDirect.ca.
And it is time for Homeward Bound. Yeah, it's a new weekly segment where we introduce you to furry friends from local rescues who are looking for their forever home. Here are 3 animals up for adoption at the Regional Animal Protection Society in Richmond. All right, first up, 4-year-old Weston has come a long way since he was found living in a colony near a Surrey bus stop. Aww. The short-haired brown tabby has become more confident after a lot of positive interactions and is now a lap cat in training. He's not bothered by other cats, but is prone to a bit of jealousy. Weston is very affectionate once he gets to know you and will shine in a safe and loving home. What a cutie.
Adorable. And Tabiko is a blue-eyed flame point Siamese who was transferred from a shelter in Prince George this summer. At 2 years old, he is quite independent for his age, but is still learning his manners. He is curious and playful and loves attention from people, on his own terms, of course. Tabiko would do well in a home where there's lots to see and do with an experienced owner who will understand his signals.
Big yawn.
And Apple is a 4-year-old rabbit that was found under the hood of a car at just 6 months old. She grew up playing with cats and kittens and is looking for some new friends who wouldn't mind sharing their home with another pet. Apple has room to roam at the sanctuary with access to a small room and patio and would love a similar setup in her new home.
Oh, so cute. I used to have a bunny when I was growing up. Yeah, it was a cutie. Just sit on my dad's shoulder.
Adorable.
I know, for sure. All right, for more information, email info@rapsbc.com or call 604-275-2036. All right, and just before we get to the Sawatsky sign-off, Craig has a look ahead to your local late news.
I do. We're following a few stories tonight, including the developments in the Israel-Hamas war. Tonight at 11:30, we will have the latest on President Trump's announcement that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of his peace plan to pause fighting and release some hostages and prisoners. Also, closer to home, RCMP and the Okanagan are investigating an early morning ATM heist. We'll have all of that coming up at 11:30.
All right, thanks for that. Okay, and finally now, you guys, Adam finds out how a woman's love of creating unique feline artwork led to smiles and laughter with her ailing father on tonight's Encore Sawatsky sign-off.
When she went walking to the thrift store that day, Helga Strauss was searching for inspiration.
Anything that's sparking some interest.
And in this case, it was a book about Marilyn Monroe and a couple others about cats that Helga started cutting up.
It's almost like making a puzzle.
But instead of using prefabricated pieces, Helga was making up the puzzle as she went.
Sometimes you get those pieces together and you're just like, click.
And this time, a kitten's head unexpectedly clicked on Marilyn's body.
And I was just like, oh my God, I just loved it so much. I just found myself just giggling to myself like nonstop.
So Helga didn't stop. She started creating countless collages featuring cats wearing all sorts of costumes. And when she was done with the books, found inspiration in junk mail featuring prescription glasses.
And I just took one look and I was like, I got to put those on some cats.
Collages featuring felines wearing frames led to kittens in clawfoot tubs.
Just pure joy and hilarity.
Just so different than what Helga was feeling after her dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
It was really, really painful, really tough.
The dad, who had provided so much comfort and so much inspiration for so long, was disappearing.
So many days were filled with tears, but this was a place where I could go and escape and find that joy.
But even better, when Helga would share the collages with her dad, he would find his joy too.
And even, in his diminished capacity, he could see that it was, a cat head on this human body and have a little chuckle too.
And they would connect in a way that can't be constructed with scissors or attached with glue, making the memories that even when forgotten, your heart always remembers.
Always follow your joy. Always.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
Some good advice, hey?
So quirky.
I know.
Of course.
See, I was thinking what great advice you had. You're thinking, okay, the clothes, the cats.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Makes people laugh. All right, let's take a look at our scenic snapshot tonight from our friend out east. Fabulous fall colors at Algonquin Park in Ontario. Thanks, Gord, for sending this beautiful photo in. And we want to see your scenic snapshot as well, so email us at scenicsnapshot@ctv.ca.
Beautiful colors for sure. I love fall.
Me too.
The colors. All right, that is all for now. Thanks for watching. Take care of yourself.